Oh, hey there. 2 weeks out from my show, and we're gonna focus on something more important than training. Well, equally as important, and that's recovery. I'm here with my guy Marcel, one of the best PTs in the game. He's gonna put me through the paces. Marcel, what are we gonna work on today?
Today we're going to be working on your lats because we know we have to optimize your recovery and your strength for your upper body, and your weakest link is your lats. So we're going to do a lot of fascia work and deep tissue manipulation.
Oof, let's get to it.
You definitely look leaner compared to 2 weeks ago when I saw you. I mean, do you feel a little lighter? Like, how do you feel?
No, I feel lighter.
Compared to 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm also like, from when you saw me, I was 233. I'm like 226 now, so I've lost a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Still got to go down. Body fat is 9.9.
9.9, right on the cusp.
Got to get to 7. Lie down on my stomach.
Let's check this out first. Take your right arm. I want you to reach all the way up right behind the head. Let's just see how far that goes. As far back as you can. That's the most you got?
That's the most I got.
You can't bring your fingers any further back?
No.
So what do you feel? You feel the lat itself?
Yeah, in there it's definitely
tight. You feel the top of the shoulder?
Not the top of the shoulder, it's in the lat right now for sure.
Just the lat. Okay,
like
let's check out the left side.
Point to the lat, I'll show you.
Point, okay.
A little higher, Now slide over to the left, right, a little left. Right there is where it's like hurting.
Okay. And that's only when you're reaching up overhead, right?
Yeah, that's like where the whatever little twinge happened yesterday, that's where it's at.
Okay. How were you doing your pull-ups, by the way? You were doing them in sets of 10?
Sets of 10, yeah.
Like just 20 sets of 10?
I was going for 20 sets of 10. I got to 16 before I stopped.
Gotcha. Okay, let's check out the left side, just to compare. You feel anything on the outside, on this side?
I just feel the stretching, but it feels fine.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get you on your back.
You know what's funny is that I did that test and it was the grand opening of this health clinic. So I went there and of course, in the clinic, you know, I was the most in shape person. So they're like, oh, you're gonna break the charts. And I got the best, you know, the scan gives you a score. And
is it like the in-body where you're holding on?
Yeah,
okay.
It's like an electromagnetic kind of test. You know, and I was in the platinum range for the test. But once again, this is based on the general population, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like 9.9. Like he saw the test and he's like, man, you know, like this is the optimal, the definition of what you could be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I saw it and I was like, damn, like I need to work harder. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw 9.9 and I was like 9.9. Like what the?
I mean, last time you were competing at this point, where were you?
That's the thing. I never really got tests done before and after to gauge where I was at. And that's why this time I actually want to know, so that way it's kind of like I can compare moving forward.
You've never, I'm sure you've used an in-body or something before.
Yeah, but like that's during the off season when I'm just, you know, messing around. And then I'm, you know, during the off season, I'm like 12, 13, because
that's where you feel comfortable, 12 or 13.
Yeah, but I actually, moving forward, I've done some research about like people who can live, you know, like have a lifestyle, sub 10 body fat. And it's possible. The thing is, you just have to get down there and like, obviously stay there for a while so it becomes your norm, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even now, I'm at such a calorie deficit because I'm trying to go down and down and down from where I was. But like once you're down here, in order to maintain it, you can eat more food and still maintain the same weight as long as you're active, you know? So I know post-show, like I'm definitely gonna try to see how long I can maintain being lean without putting on too much size. I would say 10% is like my, you know, which is where I'm at right now, basically, right?
What about like in terms of like the dopamine and just in general, just how happy you're feeling with keeping yourself in that, like keeping your body in that position? Like how do you keep your mindset right?
Honestly, I think it's just the determination to win.
Yeah.
Right, like it's a couple of things. I mean, obviously, I'm in the health and wellness field and I'm a parent and I preach to people that they need to, you know, do the hard things in order to be successful. So it's like, I kind of just want to be the definition of that. So when people see it, that's all they see, right? It's like, damn, how does he get this done, right? Like,
it's a lot of work in the background happening.
Yeah, a lot. And so between that, I mean, I just have this overall drive to win and be successful, man. To be honest with you, like the motivational aspect, motivation is cool, but like my discipline is, you know, I really rely on that.
Yeah.
Just waking up and doing the hard things. I feel like aside from contest prep, it helps me out in so many other areas of life.
So how you feeling right now here?
Ooh, that hurts.
So a couple of the muscles that we're getting into. Obviously the lat, the lat muscle is definitely going to be just one of the more symptomatic, just the thing that's speaking to you the loudest. But it's not just the lat, everything's connected. Just to that shoulder blade, you have a ton of muscles connected to that scapula, shoulder blade on the right side. So one of the muscles that we're gonna work on besides the lat was the pec, because the lat is an internal rotator, and so is the pec. It rotates you inward, and so is the subscapularis. That's that deep muscle right on the inside of the armpit. One thing you'll notice is as you get closer to competition, you may actually find that you're more sensitized and things just feel worse. Things are gonna feel more tender, just because your body's not comfortable hanging out with where you are now. So your fascia might respond just with some more sensitivity. Okay, you're gonna help me out with stretching the lat. You're gonna start right here in this position, bring that all the way back, and I'm gonna press down on the lat, and we're gonna actively stretch it. There we go. But he's in a shortened position. I grab it with the stick. He's gonna help me lengthen that muscle, and we're stretching it and releasing that lat. We're basically peeling that muscle away from the actual scapula, shoulder blade bone. And he's a big guy, so I gotta use a lot of force. Okay, good. Let's get you on your left side.
How important is it to do body work during competition, do you think?
So you're an athlete, and as an athlete, just because you're participating in athletic activities doesn't always mean that it's the best thing for your body. So you wanna maintain some sort of maintenance program. The body work is going to be the best maintenance program that you can perform in order to keep you right and make sure that you're not going to be injured on the other side. Body work is essential. All right, you're going to bring the right arm out in front of you, grab it, pull it across your body.
Once my competitions are over, because no matter what, I'm shutting it down July 5th.
That's it, huh?
That's it. So what happens is that every year, well, at least not every year, but the past 2 years that I competed, there's this show, Universe, which is July 5th.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, oh, if I turn pro, then of course I'm done, because I turned pro. Yeah. But I haven't done that. So what happens? There's another show late August.
Oh, there is?
The last week in August, like right after my birthday, you know what I'm saying? What does that mean? That means I'm training all summer.
Damn.
You know? And then I don't come off of contest prep till September or something, right? So I literally spend the whole summer just like in the trenches. Damn. You know what I mean? And so this year I said, you know what? Like, I'm gonna train as hard as possible, give it all I got. I'm gonna do this first show to qualify.
And then you reach behind.
Give it that, you know, give it my all at Universe, which is the July 5th show. And then no matter what, I'm shutting it down, because July and August, it's gonna be a good summer. You know? Shredded.
Good, give me 3 more.
I'm an athlete, I'm training, you know, 5 times a week, twice a day. In terms of like the general population, right? Like a general fitness enthusiast that trains 3 to 4 days a week, you know, might do, if you're for a woman, if you just train 2 to 3 times a week, you do some Pilates. If you're a guy, you just do a little bit of exercise, right? Yeah. How important do you think it is for them to see a physical therapist, especially as you're aging? Right?
Yeah.
Like approaching your 40s.
Yeah. You know, in general, just because you're not experiencing an injury or you're not symptomatic, it doesn't mean that you don't have something going on. We all have some sort of dysfunction, whether if it's because of the environment that we're placed in or just a genetic contribution. So that's something that we take with us when we're training or we're doing Pilates. So there's always going to be a level of predisposition to some sort of injury. So it's always good to see someone just to do a general movement screen, a good physical screen to understand what kind of things are you predisposed to, what asymmetries, dysfunctions you have. Because oftentimes we're more reactive than proactive. But imagine you put the time in to actually work on those areas so that you can prevent the injury. So almost everyone can benefit from walking in that door.
Okay, that's great to know.
So right now, we're gonna use a scraper. This is a heated and vibrating scraper. What's a scraper itself? It's kind of like some of the work that I'm already doing to your soft tissue, except this sharp edge here helps work on the superficial top layer aspect of the fascia. The fascia is that connective tissue layer that sits on top of the muscle. It's like a cavity. Every single organ, muscle tissue in your body has a layer of fascia right on top. That's also the layer of tissue that communicates with the rest of the body. All right.
You know, it's funny, I was with a client yesterday, and you know, I typically shut it down like 2 weeks before the show in terms of like doing in-person stuff. So like this upcoming Monday and Tuesday, I'll do like some client stuff, but that's it. Like as of Wednesday, for like a week and a half after my show, like I'm not doing anything in person. The rest is just like literally, you know, relaxing, resting. If it's not me in the gym training, like I just don't have the bandwidth, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so she's like, man, Apollo, you usually like, you know, more upbeat, like you seem like empty, you know? And in my head I was like, do you know what it's like to be on no carbs? Like, it feels like your soul's empty, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're walking around all day long, kind of just like moving, and you don't really know what's making you move, you know what I'm saying?
Because really, you're not even getting that fuel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn this on. Obviously, it's gonna be sound waves. So these sound waves that are gonna enter your lat muscle right now, those sound waves are bouncing back and forth, up and down, side to side, and that's gonna create heat. It's also gonna create more blood flow, and it's also gonna loosen up the lat, reduce any of those trigger point, tender points, and improve strength and recovery. All right, you might feel a little discomfort, you might not feel much.
Oh.
What's the level of pain?
That's at like a 6.
A 6?
Or 7.
All right, we're not gonna go up any more than that.
Oh.
And if it's too painful, I could reduce the intensity. That right there is his right paraspinal muscle. And it's much bigger and more developed on that right side versus the left. Not only more developed, but there's just more fascial restrictions here. That's getting in the way of a lot of his function on that right side, which is probably why that lat ends up getting very, very tight. And that's just how everything's all connected. So we're gonna do a release on all that here. It's not gonna be the most pleasant.
What are some ways you can increase blood flow to your muscles, aside from like cardio?
Yeah.
Right? Aside from just like, you know, obviously the standard exercise, which generates more oxygenation, like what? Because obviously a lot of the stuff you're doing now is, you know, allowing more blood flow to get to the muscle for better recovery, better mobility. So like, what are some things someone could do in general to improve blood flow?
So there's actually a variety of things. Well, number one, the stuff that we're doing here, when it comes to fascia, restricted fascia actually decreases blood flow to that muscle, which means you're not even performing as well as you can because that muscle is just not getting the blood flow it needs to because of the hurdles that are in the way, like the fascial restrictions. So foam rolling is always going to be a very good idea. Epsom salt baths are also very good to warm up the tissue. It's a very, very good idea. Obviously, when we're talking about anti-inflammation, that's when you start to do the, you know, cold ice baths, and that's a conversation in and of itself. And then there's a conversation of the types of foods that you're eating, knowing what you're not so good at processing, digesting, what you're allergic to, those internal inflammatory agents that are commonly found in, like, you know, dairy products or...
You mean food has a direct effect on inflammation in your body and how well your blood flows to your muscles?
Believe it or not, absolutely.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
What you put in your body.
I tell people that all the time, but they don't want to listen.
You know, sometimes you'll go to the gym, you'll spend 2-3 hours a day, and yet you're still not getting the results you want because you're feeding your body crap.
Yeah.
So it really matters. And on top of all that, the sleep aspect as well. You can do all the right things, but if you're just not getting enough sleep, which is really your recovery, how is your body supposed to build itself back up after you're breaking it down when you're working so hard?
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's not just about locally getting the blood flow to the areas you need to get it to. It's just about your global overall approach to how you're treating your body. And then lastly, mental health, keeping your mindset right, because all those things are going to keep you motivated to keep moving, keep pushing forward, and, you know, ultimately maintaining that disciplined approach. Because you can do the right things for 2 weeks and then it's over.
This is the worst part of this whole thing. The worst part. I used to think cupping was just like you lay there, you get cupped, there's pressure, and then that's it, you can just like chill, you know? And then he showed me that, you know, you actually have to move through the cupping for it to really take effect. And it's probably one of the most painful things I think I experienced as an adult, to be honest with you. I'm being honest, like in terms of like level of like 1 to 10 pain, like things I actually experienced, I'm gonna say this is probably the highest right now. Without a doubt.
Well, cupping has to be functional. We can't just put the cups on and expect them to do what they're supposed to do. You know, we use the cups in order to pull the fascia out using the negative suction pressure. And then as you come up and perform the stretch and movement that I'm going to show you, it's going to enhance that effect. And obviously, it is very uncomfortable. Bend your knees.
Like come up on my knees?
No, 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 just bend them. You're still there. Just drop your feet all the way down to the left. Yep. And then come right back. This is, again, just warming up the tissue before we get up and we start doing a little bit more active stuff. Nice. Let's do that another like 4 or 5 times. So him moving his body, this is functional mobilization. We're already stretching that tissue, pulling it this way, and as he's dropping his feet over to the left, we're creating a stretching effect. You got this. Up. Good. Take the pillow away. All right. We're going to do some spinal rotation. With your right arm, you're going to reach through underneath like a thread the needle stretch. Reach, 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 reach. There we go. Really stretching that tissue. Reach. Good. And then you're going to go up in the other direction. Up towards the right. Turn your head to the right. Turn, 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 turn. Yeah, there we go. Look at those beautiful marks. Deep breath in. There we go. All right. And I tell this to all of my clients. Whenever we're dealing with a one-sided asymmetry, dysfunction, whatever you want to call it, saying like the shoulder, more than likely, that dysfunctional shoulder is eventually going to start creeping up into the neck. So it's very important to take a look at the neck before that becomes like a disc herniation and nerve pain, cervical radiculopathy, and then you'll find yourself in the doctor's office getting all sorts of medications. So being proactive at the end of the day is the best thing that you can do.
I appreciate you as always, bro. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
Oh, hey there. Look who we have here. Hi. Guest appearance by Ladis.
Hi.
Ladis, Marcel, Ladis.
That's my son's middle name, Marcel.
Really? You're in YouTube video number 6 right now. She's like my twin in terms of the hip injury, so Marcel's gonna give her a full workup. Work is magic because Lord knows we're getting old and we gotta get these hips right. Training the last couple of weeks of the show is very different than training in the off season. One thing that I do now is I stay away from compound lifts, right? The objective is to drive blood into the muscles. So I use a lot of cables, a lot of squeezing, and I stay away from barbells, barbell bench press, right? This is my technique. Some people do it differently, but reality is the age I am, trying to preserve these bones and muscle. If I was crushing a barbell right now, I feel like that's a one-way ticket to an injury, and I'm trying to preserve. At this point, it's really, really, really not about ego lifting and really about how you can make the next best decision in training, right? Because in these last few weeks, you really, really, really have to manage your energy in order to make it through. Let me show you. So we say no to barbell bench press, right? High risk of injury, and we say yes to cables. Squeezing and contracting. Getting the blood flowing. So at this point, as we keep pushing forward, the hype dies down, the energy is low, and the only thing on my mind is what's the next right choice. At the beginning when you decide to train, there's a lot of hype, a lot of energy, super, everything is rah, rah, rah. At this point, tired, sore, fatigued, hungry, and the only thing that pushes me through is my discipline and the will to win. And reality is at this point in my life, training does so much more for me. It's so much more for me than just winning the competition. Like I put myself through this so that way when I'm not competing, right, I have the discipline to do the things that I need to do in life to be successful. And that's when it comes to being there for my kids, when it comes to my business endeavors, when it comes to me sticking to my word with my family or the people that I love, right? I stay focused and I'm able to do the hard things, which makes me a better person. And that's one of the main reasons I train. So 2 weeks is the first test, 6 weeks is the real show. So we're just gonna keep it going till then.